Hey, AfterBuzzers, we are talking Season 6, Episode 13 of New Girl, Cece's Boys, so stick around.
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AfterBuzz TV. And now, let the buzz begin.
Hello, New Girl fans! Oh my gosh, what a fun episode. I can't even wait to get into it. It was so much fun, was it not?
It was.
So many great laughs. I can't even explain my excitement to talk about it today. I'm your host, Allie Nasta. You can find me on Twitter at Allie Nasta and on Instagram at Allie Girl. And Tessa Cavel, where can they find you?
You guys can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Tessa_Cavel.
Alrighty, so along with the thousands of laughs, there were some serious tones to this episode that I kind of wanted to ask you what you thought. So this whole episode was kind of catered around Cece trying to find more boys for her agency, which kind of is a carryover from last episode of her getting her office, which we got to see a lot of, and it's so nice.
It's gorgeous.
It's so gorgeous. I feel like we're not even in her house.
You nailed it.
Yeah, nailed it. I feel like we're not even in her house. Like, we're actually in, an office building.
I know. It's weird. I kept being like, oh, wait, but the rest of your house is still wrecked.
Yeah. We haven't stepped outside. But what I found really interesting with this whole Cece's Boys scenario and these models that don't seem to have it all together, it seems like it was a foreshadowing into motherhood. She was really having to mother these boys.
That's a really interesting way to look at it, but you're so right. It is kind of insight to see how she'll be as a mother.
Yeah, she had to tell them, she was brushing the hair, they were not even talking, they were fighting. One of them, Dean, was locked into the closet. So I just thought it was a really interesting take on, maybe a foreshadowing of how she's going to be in motherhood, which she took it very well.
Yeah, she's very calm, she's very collected, which is very Cece, but you're right. That's really interesting. I never thought about it in that way.
Yeah, which I kind of was wondering, maybe this is kind of a preemptive thing for us to get ready for her to become a mom. I don't know. I could be totally off of the rail with this one, but I just kind of saw her mommying them a lot, and I just thought that was really interesting.
I mean, they're not the brightest, though, at the same time. So
Definitely
you kind of have to mother those two, Dean and Donovan. But you're right. That's really interesting. I never thought about it that way.
Yeah,
even Schmidt, too, because Schmidt's kind of guiding Cece on things to do. You need to call them, or you need to handle it,
Definitely. And I feel like overall this whole episode kind of got us back to where we felt before, all the relationships and the seriousness of the Lofters, of all of them. I feel like it was more fun and playful this episode. We got to see the guys do their thing and the girls do their thing. Which what did you think? I thought it was so much fun to watch.
Yeah, and I think we haven't seen this in a while. The guys and the girls. I mean, I feel like I haven't seen Schmidt with the guys in a while. He's always with Cece.
Yeah, and it was really fun to just kind of see how he's been feeling. Because like we said, he's been kind of in the shadows of everybody recently. And we haven't really had our little douchebag jar Schmidt back in the game. But I feel like this episode, we really got to hear his emotions and how he's feeling about things, which leaves us to he's feeling nervous about leaving the loft.
I know, and it made me really sad because I think we keep thinking they feel this way, but to actually see them feel this way, it broke my heart a little bit.
I know, and it does kind of make you realize, I mean, it's just when you graduate college, all those friends that you hung out with every day, it's never going to be the same. So he's kind of starting to feel those things, especially because with Coach leaving the loft, they forget about him all the time.
I know.
And even
I did. When they brought him up, I was like, oh, yeah.
Well, I thought it was funny. We didn't bring this up a couple episodes back, but when they were in New York, they ran into Coach on the street.
Yeah.
And then he was like, oh, it's okay. I've been in LA a bunch of times and I haven't hit you guys up. So I think it'll probably most likely be different because Coach kind of came in and he wasn't there from he was there from the beginning, but it was just kind of different. But it is funny to think about how if he leaves, will they just forget about him?
I mean, I hope not, but Schmidt does have a good point. He was talking about how, what's left? Are we just going to share a timeshare or something like that? And it's true, unfortunately. I think when friends live together and then don't live together, they obviously spend a lot less time together. So
It's only natural.
It's like giving me anxiety now because I'm like, no, this really is happening and I really don't want it to, and I don't want it to end because I love them so much.
I agree. And like, seriously, the dynamic of them again, like seeing them all together just makes me so happy. Just seeing the boys do their thing. But what was really cool in this episode too was just seeing even more so Reagan and Jess's relationship.
Yes.
It was they are, like, I feel like from the start of when Reagan got in, I was a little, like, skeptical. Like, she's not trying to overshine Jess, is she? You know, I was wondering when she first came in. But now I'm really enjoying their dynamic.
Me too. I thought there would be this weird competitive nature between the two, but I really don't see it at all.
No, it's almost like when we would see Cece and Jess do their thing and, you know, be best friends. Like, I see this as a very great friendship growing, and I'm really intrigued to see how this may end up, say, if Nick and Jess were to ever get back together.
Yeah.
Because
I just don't see it.
I know.
I just don't see it anymore.
I didn't see it, but what's really interesting is Tessa actually saw this interview, speaking of the whole Nick and Jess situation, which last episode we talked about how we're over it, kind of. You know, we're moving on. We're really into this whole Reagan and Nick situation. I think they complement each other well. There's not really much drama. They have open communication. Nick's kind of like... I feel like he's almost more mature in this relationship.
Yeah.
So on E! News, he did an interview at the Fox All-Star Party at the 2017 Winter TCA Press Tour, and Jake Johnson said, "I would be shocked if the characters didn't give it another try at some point, from what I've been reading and what I've been talking about. I hope he was just going on about how he's saying, I hope they don't rush it, and I hope they don't try to just do a Band-Aid fix and put it together and everything's good," which is a really great point, because right now we're so far gone into the Reagan and Nick thing, we almost forget about this whole Nick and Jess thing, to where if they were to rush it as an audience, I think it would be unbelievable.
Well, I'm surprised, which makes me question what he knows, but I feel like he has to know something if he thinks they're probably going to get back together, because at this point, as an audience, I don't see it at all. So I'm really, really eager to see what's going to happen now.
Definitely. Like, when you sent this to me and I was watching the interview, I just couldn't even
I know, I freaked out. I literally saw it and I was like, Allie!
Yeah, and I was freaking out, because what's so crazy is that we literally have finally, like, been like, all right, let's put that relationship to rest.
Let it go.
We let it go, and now we're getting brought up again that he wouldn't be shocked if this happens, which we would be shocked.
Yeah.
I completely...
Would you guys be? I mean...
Seriously, if you would be shocked if Jess and Nick got back together, like, let us know. Seriously. Because I definitely would be at this point. I can't even, like, imagine, like, how that would even work.
I, like, don't remember them together anymore.
Yeah, no, it's just kind of like Reagan and Nick are kind of taking over. They're doing great things. But yeah, I mean, that was a fun little snippet that I saw, and I just am really intrigued as to how they would even incorporate that. But everybody's so happy right now. Everybody's very set in their relationships, and everybody, I mean, this episode was just so fun, and it was good to see the guys back together, and man, can we talk about that waxing scene?
Oh my God.
Oh my goodness. I think that this is the most I've laughed all season. There's a lot of great, like, comic moments, but the fact that they all, like, what did they say? They were like the brother band or something.
Yeah. Oh, shoot. Now I'm totally blanking.
I think it was like the brother band. Like, they were like, we're doing this together.
Yeah.
I just thought it was hilarious.
You know what I found very comical? So they're all in their robes, right?
Yeah.
Did you notice Nick still had, like, his flannel on under his robe?
Yeah, because
I was like, what is going on?
Because he said he didn't wear pants, but he wore a shirt in the massage. Which I was like,
what? That is such a Nick thing.
Yeah.
I was like, are you kidding?
like, you're still wearing your shirt.
But not pants.
Yeah, definitely like opposite and weird, and something that he definitely would do. But did you find it funny that, of course, of all places, they're talking about they need to make this, what was it, a tradition. They need to make a tradition. And of course, Schmidt chooses a spa day.
Which I found a little interesting. I felt like he would have been like, oh, we need like a guys' night, or like we should play hoops or do a poker night or something like manly.
Yeah.
Because I just think of that with
He tries to overcompensate sometimes.
Right. And then spa, wax. I was like, what? This is funny.
So
I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, it was great. I just thought it was hilarious. And Winston, this episode, killed it. Literally hilarious. Every line that like came out of his mouth, I was like laughing out loud by myself. It was amazing.
No, me too. I love in the beginning too when he had the little cat paw. He threw
He's
it
like,
in.
meow. And they're like, aren't you over this yet? Like, no, I'm not over it personally.
No. I love Winston.
I love him too. But you know who else I do love? What we haven't heard a word from is Allie.
I know, Allie. Where are you? Come back.
Like, are they still dating? Like, what is the deal here? I want to forget about it, so I don't think about it all the time. But literally the whole episode, I'm like, okay, where's Allie? Is she coming back? Like, they had such a great relationship. What's going on?
I know. And Robbie wasn't in this episode either.
No. I find it, the one thing that I think is really interesting is that when the relationships that they don't live with, I guess, like, if you're dating someone, you don't spend every day with them anyways, so that's kind of, like, standard. But I think it's usually when we do see Jess with someone, or we see, you know, obviously we've seen a lot of Reagan, and we obviously see a lot of Cece because she's married to Schmidt. But it's interesting to not see them in every episode because you, like, are expecting them to be there almost, but they don't need to be.
Well, and I think like we've talked about before, it's so easy to forget Robbie. And it bothers me that it's so easy to forget him.
Yeah.
But it doesn't help that he's not always there.
Yeah, that's true. I think what's funny too about Robbie is I literally, until you just brought him up right now, I completely forgot.
Right?
Which,
you always forget
But
him.
whenever he's in the scenes together, I really enjoy his presence. I think he's fun. He adds a different type of like comic relief to the show. Mm-hmm. So I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see where that one goes because I don't see Winston getting with anybody else, and maybe he can finally have his girlfriend come back. That would be really nice. I feel like it's weird too because in the beginning they were constantly talking about how she was at that police academy camp thing, and then she came back, and then they didn't even say like she's going anywhere. It was just like we haven't heard from her.
Gone.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
I mean,
weird.
maybe she like obviously like in real life, maybe she's like I think she might be on another series or something. I don't know. I probably should look that up. That's probably why she's
I don't think she's gonna. I don't know if she'll be in another New Girl episode.
That's interesting because they haven't like written her
off.
off.
A little update on why.
Yeah, that like maybe they can make some sort of like funny Winston comment. I think that needs to happen.
It does. I need
to know something that's happening with Allie, so we're not just like thinking she disappeared because right now I'm thinking that's what's happening. So I guess we'll have to wait and see. But. Yeah, I don't know. Like, overall, I thought this episode was so great, and I feel like we were back to the beginning of, like, New Girl fun times, and it was, like, everything was just, like, fun and playful.
No, I agree. I think we've seen a lot of character development lately, a lot of relationships develop, and so it was fun to just kind of, like, almost relax in this episode and see their fun, playful sides again without anything truly dramatic happening.
Yeah.
The most dramatic thing was Cece losing clients, but honestly, her business isn't that serious, in my opinion, so it wasn't a huge deal.
Yeah.
And I loved seeing Jess and Reagan together. I think that was one of my favorite parts about this episode, even though there weren't a lot of comedic moments. I think I just really liked seeing them together.
It was.
It just felt so natural to me.
You wanted more.
They just vibed so well. It was really interesting because they're so different, too.
Yeah. And it's just interesting to see at the beginning, like, Jess was very skeptical of her and kind of like, but are you, like, who are you? And trying to peel her back. And then obviously after she invited her out for, like, the Christmas Secret Santa thing, they are besties. Yeah. And this whole episode, she was just trying to, you know, be like, you mean, like, you said our. Like, you said, like, our. Like, we're a team. And Reagan was trying to push her away on that. But, yeah, like, they were a really good team this episode.
And I just feel like they're so comfortable together.
Yeah. It just meshes so well.
Yeah.
And like I've said before, I was even a little skeptical of, like, the Reagan character. But I really am growing to really enjoy this dynamic, and I think it's fun. I think it's so much fun.
I know, I really do like it.
Yeah.
What also cracked me up, though, too, because it's Megan Fox and she's known for being so beautiful and sexy, is when she went up to that one guy in the restaurant and was, like, trying to hit on him, and he just instantly dismissed her.
Yeah. I thought that was funny, too. Like,
What?
yeah. Like, wait, that shouldn't be happening. She was like, wait, did you hear what I said? I was like, yeah, girl, you say that. Like, I want to know if he heard what you said, too. But yeah, no, great dynamic. I really like it. But Schmidt had some great one-liners this episode. So I think we should talk about our favorite Schmidt quotes of the show. Did you have any specific ones?
Mine, it wasn't honestly a super funny one, but at the very beginning of the episode, Schmidt said to Cece, "Those pretty boys don't deserve you." And it just reiterates, I think, how much he loves Cece and cares about her. And I just think it's so beautiful.
It is beautiful. I love Cece and Schmidt, even from the beginning. Like, the way that he would just, like, fight for her and their relationship, seeing that evolve was very magical. I loved it. But speaking of not so magical, my favorite Schmidt quote, I had two. But he was like, "Let's get tracksuits and play chess." And I was like... Like,
that was
so
a good one.
random. Really, Schmidt? Like, the thing that, like, makes me laugh so hard about his character is he says things that, like, you would never even fathom in your life to, like, say it out loud. And then he says it and you're like, what is happening?
But you can, like, always picture things like that, too. I was like, that's so dead on.
Yeah, like, I'm like, okay, like, that's very specific. Let's get tracksuits and play chess. I mean, sure, why not? And then Winston's already playing it anyway, so just throw in some tracksuits. We're all good. And then I had another one when they're about to go in to get waxed, and he goes, "I'm going to go shuck this cord."
That just honestly made me a little uncomfortable. I was like, what? What did you just say?
Well, the whole thing, it was, like, so, like, kind of uncomfortable, which I think that's why it was so funny.
Yeah.
Because I didn't even know that was a thing. Like, why wouldn't they just say no? Like, no, I don't want to do this. But Schmidt was so gung-ho, like, no, we're doing this. This is our tradition.
I know, that's what I was thinking, too. I was like, don't do it then.
I know. Like, just walk
Who's
out.
making you do it?
Like,
no
you
one.
paid for it. Just don't go. But gotta love them together. They're amazing. Love them. I think that about wraps up this episode. So I think we should get into some predictions / wishes / wants.
Yes.
They're always wishes and wants.
Your AfterBuzz
Always wishes and
TV.
All right, Allie, what do you think?
You know, I think obviously we all know I want to see Allie and Winston back together, and I want something drastic. Like either it's going to be like a proposal, or I want it to be a breakup. I want some sort of word of her so I can get her, like, I can kind of like check that out. Like, okay, what's going on with them? I need to check in, need to see what's happening. Because it's like when we were frustrated, like when we didn't hear anything about Reagan, we were wondering if she was ever going to come back.
Right.
So, but maybe, like we said, there's so much character development and relationships happening right now. It might be too much to add Allie into the situation because we have so many things going on. So maybe they're going to throw her in at a time that maybe someone leaves. So maybe that's my prediction, that one of these relationships besides Cece and Schmidt isn't going to work out. Whether it be Reagan and Nick, Allie and Winston, Jess and Robbie, who we always forget about. Poor guy. He's great. But yeah, those are my wishes, wants, and predictions. But what about you, Tessa?
So I have a couple, but they're pretty long term.
Okay. Let's hear it.
Jess and Robbie, I don't think are going to last.
Okay.
And I think Nick and Jess are not going to get back together, but I think they're going to have like a moment soon.
Okay.
Kind of like the moment that they had in the cubicle when they were like reflecting on their relationship.
Yeah.
Kind of joking about it, but I think they're going to have another one soon. Potentially about either breaking up with Robbie or post-breakup with Robbie.
That makes sense. I like that.
That's what I think is going to happen. Because I do not see Jess with Robbie. They're too similar.
Yeah.
I love them equally, but just not together.
Like we said, there's like sometimes like random sparks that we see, but then sometimes there's nothing at all. And it's just really kind of like, oh yeah, they're friends.
Yeah, I always think they're friends.
Yeah, you don't see that.
Because they're not affectionate.
No.
They're not... It's just weird to me.
Like even when when Jess was with the doctor, Sam, I saw more of the connection there, and that was kind of even like a very on and off kind of situation.
Yeah.
So so I don't know. As much as we love Robbie because he's hilarious and sweet and great and kind and loves Jess, I agree with you on that. I think that's a great prediction. You know, I'm really excited. I don't even know.
Thank you, Alex.
Yes, you're right. I mean, no. I'm really excited to see how the season goes. Right now, we have not been disappointed, and we've gotten a lot of what we wanted. So hopefully, it just keeps coming. But you know, that actually brings us to a close of our discussion today. Thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure you tweet at us on AfterBuzz TV. You can go find us on YouTube, obviously, if you're there, or if you're on the iTunes listening to a podcast. Just make sure you follow us, and you can follow me personally on Twitter at Ali Nasta and on Instagram at Ali Girl. And Tessa Cavel, where can they find you?
You guys can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Tessa_Cavel.
Awesome. Well, we will see you guys for the next episode next week. Bye.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.